So, let's say you did build that AI mock customer agent. You used the data of the guest attributes, the time and day of the week they booked, how long they were booking for, the days of the week they booked, what time they checked in, what time they checked out, their requests, as well as their ratings feedback if they supplied it. You did this for various mismatched customer profiles, as well as the small percentage of what you considered to be well matched customer profiles as a control group. You then put your AI agent to work, and from the data you extracted, you were able to spot a few patterns that suggest the likely output of the third party booking platform in terms of the cases when a hotel in your chain actually made the list of options, as well as which one was likely to show up based on the potential customer and guest attributes. You also considered what information the third party booking platform potentially had about the customer and what information it didn't in order to get a more accurate result. From your extracted insights, you were able to get some idea of the pricing range the potential customers are attracted to. You were able to narrow down some correlations between the search criteria versus the pricing range versus the options output. The challenge is that, based on your arrangement with the third party booking platform, they make their money in two ways: commissions as well as markups. So they get to implement some price skimming of their own based on not only the demand pattern in a given location, but also for specific hotels and specific hotel tier types. If they are able to achieve a bigger markup than the reserve price you've set for the room in your hotels, they make more money. They get to skim the markup off the top and then get a commission as well for the booking. So, from your insights, you discover that in their efforts to use demand patterns to make more revenue, they actually do manufacture some demand patterns, largely using micro targeting to manufacture scarcity for certain hotels or room types in certain tiers in order to maximize their revenue. This then jumbles up the availability of options of rooms and hotels. Micro-targeting is a practice of directing certain search outputs to a specific audience or profile type. Say, for example, that there's a bank we'll call Bank One, and they want to encourage all their customers to use their banking app. They no longer want to send out one-time PINs, that is OTPs, and notifications via text. They want their customers to receive OTPs via the app. Some of their customers are not adept when it comes to using consumer technology or performing self-service activities using digital channels. They are very much aware that these customers, many of whom have helped build their bank over the years, having had their salaries paid over to this bank and banking with them for the entire period of their working years, may find this transition extremely difficult, especially because they fully rely on these texts to stay informed about what's happening in their accounts in terms of deposits, purchases, withdrawals, and so on. Now they are telling them they have to find a way, most of them in their old age, to get proficient with technology, either that or just not know what's happening in their account, or worse still, rely on someone else to monitor their account for them, which exposes them to all sorts of security risks. So, say a smaller and growing bank, we'll call them Bank 2, sees this as an opportunity to attract these alienated long-time loyal customers to a service that is set up the good old-fashioned way. They recognize that these older people have children who will likely feel relieved that their parent banks with a bank that cares about them. They will no longer have to worry about their elderly loved one getting scammed or living with the frustration of not being able to handle their banking affairs like they've been able to for years because someone decided their existence is not relevant anymore. Chances are that the elderly person's loved one will develop a positive association with this other bank, seeing how easy they make things for their elderly loved ones. They are likely to recognize that one day they will also age, and a bank that cares about you, whether you're young and digitally savvy or old and just need things simple and straightforward, is not a bad option. So they might consider opening an account for themselves as well. Bank 2 sees this as an opportunity to seriously get itself out there by targeting the elderly community who earn a monthly guaranteed pension, which means an almost guaranteed forecast of deposits. They may even have other cash assets they'd be willing to move over to Bank 2 that gives them the full control over their affairs when they can see what's going on without having to keep up with the fast evolving consumer technology landscape. The elderly also tend to be very loyal and prefer to have their affairs managed in one place. So chances are they would be willing to move over their wills as well, which also presents a revenue opportunity in terms of estate executor fees. So now Bank 2 has to actually attract these customers and let them know that life is actually better on the other side. No, no, not that side, not just yet. Like the other side, as in still on this earth, but with another bank. Like life can be better on the other side, but still on this side, like still alive. You get what I mean. So Bank 2 decides to devise a micro targeting strategy both for online and traditional in person marketing. Online, they target platforms that the elderly who are not crazy about all this technology stuff frequent. They devise a campaign using psychographics aligned messaging and then set their audience parameters so specific as to only appear to this specific profile of people. If you have specific insights about behavioral attributes of non technology savvy elderly, you'll use them in your targeting, such as belongs to groups of alien sightings enthusiasts, for example, interest in specific musical artists, Kenny G maybe, prefers to shop at a specific supermarket, follows a page of this specific bank, or has interest in this specific bank. The idea is to attract the elderly as a new banking customer without making the younger existing customer feel like your bank is going backwards innovation wise. So essentially, the chances of the potential new elderly customer seeing your ad are very, very high. And the chances of your existing young tech savvy customer that thinks Bank 2 is a really cool bank seeing the elderly targeted campaigns are very, very low. Traditional marketing wise, Bank 2 partners with a retail brand frequented by this elderly demographic to incentivize them to take up an account with Bank 2, particularly if the elderly customer pulls out a bank card from Bank 1 to pay, using conversational language that speaks to the core of the elderly customer's frustrations with Bank 1, as well as all this confusing technology stuff. Micro-targeting is actually a very interesting topic. You can literally run an ad with target audience profile attributes that match your neighbor exactly to the T. Like, he likes golf, is into birds, fascinated with the BTQ part of the LGBTQ community because their favorite child belongs to it, has a fear of clowns, belongs to a spiritualist fundamentalist book club, and is a proud vegetarian. You can run the ad through a manufactured spiritual advice page that says golf is a highly spiritual game and every ball you lose leaves a hole in your soul. This way, your neighbor will be mindful that every time they lose a ball in your garden or through one of your windows while they practice their chipping, they give you a piece of their soul. This would hopefully inspire them to just pick up their bag and go to the range when they want to practice. If you do your micro targeting right, with exact location, age range, interests, and other attributes, your neighbor will be the only person that sees the ad on the given platform that they actively use. That's enough on micro-targeting. Let's go back to our case study. So we said the reason we're seeing a mismatch of bookings and misalignment with demand patterns for our hotel chain is because the booking platform is using micro-targeting to manufacture scarcity so as to score bigger commissions and markups. They can use the data they can gather about the potential customer from their digital footprint, the type of device they're using, for example, their location, search history, such as if they did a search about a mechanical issue on an expensive German luxury car, and so on, to micro target this customer with a specific output of hotel options. They can then limit certain rooms that match the price range of the potential customer. A lower tier room in a higher tier hotel means a small margin, which means a small commission, and there's barely room, if any, for a markup. A higher tier room in the higher tier hotel has a better margin, but that's outside of the customer's price range. That is, what they are willing to spend for that particular stay. So they hide the low commission room for this specific customer profile type, a customer with a low price sensitivity but a firm budget and a list of needs and requirements that can be met by a higher commission room type, for which they can induce a booking via projecting scarcity. A high tier room at a lower tier hotel has a bigger margin, thus higher commission, Furthermore, the value perks that come with the higher tier room at the lower tier hotel make it easier to charge a markup because the gap in price between this room and the higher tier room at the higher tier hotel is so big that it just makes sense to book this room. Great for the booking platform, not so great for you and your hotel chain.